Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a first impressions on the brand new Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. Now you guys know I don't typically buy palettes at launch because I need a sale, but I did get a 20% off coupon from the Sephora Friends and Family sale, so I was like, you know what, why not, let me give it a try. I was excited by the palette, so I decided to pick it up at 20% off. So for today's video, what I'm gonna do is walk you guys through the product details, some swatches on my complexion, as well as 2 looks, and then I'll come back and give you guys my first impressions thoughts. But before we dive in, if this is your first time watching me, welcome. I'm Jamila. I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup and skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to get high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the fam, because we don't pay full price for makeup over here. All right, so let's jump into product details, and I will pop up some swatches on the side so you guys can see that while I talk about the palette. Well, let's start from the beginning though first. This is what the palette looks like. It comes in a very basic cardboard box, but the outer packaging is absolutely stunning. This does have a little bit more weight to it than the previous mini palettes that I've seen, and the packaging does have like this glass top on top of it that honestly I really like the packaging, because I think some of her older midi palettes are just kind of like the soft touch packaging. They're actually slightly thinner than this one because of this like extra piece. So this one has a little bit more weight to it, a little bit more structure to it. So I just wanted you guys to see that. In terms of size, it is still a 15 pan eyeshadow palette. It still has the holes in the back to pop out the shades, so just in case you were wondering. They do have some product details on the back as well in a very, very small sticker, but I would recommend going to the website to get the specifics because there are no details about the ingredients on here, so it's very hard to tell if there's going to be anything that's going to be irritating to the eyes. And you know, part of that is because of the holes in here make this palette rearrangeable. Now on the palette itself, it does say that this has a 24-month shelf life and it was made in Italy. I don't see anything about it being cruelty-free or vegan though, so if that's something that you are concerned about, check the website to confirm. When you open it up, these are the shades. As you can tell, very beautiful nude palette, a lot of dusty colors, and one really deep shade. And there are a ton of shimmers in this palette, but I do think that there's a nice balance of shimmers to mattes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mattes out of a 15 pan eyeshadow palette. So it is, wait, no, 3, 6, 7. So it's 7, yes, 7 mattes, which means that it is 8 shimmers. 8 shimmers, 7 mattes, so almost half and half in terms of the matte to shimmer ratio. Now, on the website, here's what they say behind the inspiration. Inspired by minimalist stone architecture, these cool nude shades are set in a sleek 3D plexiglass case, specially designed by Natasha herself. Motivated by the I Need a Nude lip collection, Natasha had to create the complementing eyeshadow palette of perfect nudes, resulting in the I Need a Nude palette that effortlessly creates soft and natural yet glamorous looks. So what it does, from dusty rose to icy pink, sparkling champagne to coffee brown, this captivating assortment of flattering nudes can be used to create endless dazzling looks. Perfect for everyday elegance, dramatic glossy eye finishes, or enchanting bridal glam, the I Need a Nude palette's versatile combination of timeless nude hues is a must-have in anyone's collection. Okay, on the website, it does say that it is cruelty-free. It's mineral oil-free, paraben-free, and made in Italy, but it does not say that it's vegan, so just something to note. And in terms of the shade descriptions, they do have each shade listed out and they specify what it is. And there are a couple different formulas that they've listed. 1, matte. 2, metallic. 3, sparkling foiled. 4, sparkling wet effect. 5, glossy wet effect. So it seems like there are 5 different formula types in this palette. And I do talk about that in the end. You'll see that some of these are more topper-like, some of these have a bigger base to it, some have a more metallic effect, versus some having a more satin effect. Okay, so those are all of the product details for the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. Let's dive into the looks, and just to be clear, this isn't one of them. I actually am filming this late because I started editing my video for this and then I realized I never filmed an intro. So this is me coming back a couple days after to film the intro because I never filmed the intro for that video. And I'm actually wearing the new Nomad Cosmetics palette, which will be in a video coming very, very soon. But this isn't the Natasha Denona eyeshadow. Sorry if you guys got faked out by that. It's still cute though, so be on the lookout for this video with the Nomad palette. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. But let's go ahead and jump into the I Need a Nude demos. Okay, you guys know the drill. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is what the palette looks like without me having touched or swatched it yet, which I always do when I do these videos because I'm trying to do 2, maybe 3 looks for you guys. So I don't know where to start. Okay, let's start simple. So let's start with this shade here. This is called Wit. It is very peachy. I'm taking that and I'm going to put that into the crease as my transition shade. Let's go. Feet away, she's like a primrose. You're never taking me alive, so come close. These are some beautiful mattes. They are applying and blending very, very well. I don't reach for my Natasha palettes very often, but every time I do, I'm reminded as to why. She has some really, really good formulas, guys. Okay, and then switching brushes, I'm gonna go into Vogue. It is a little bit on the cooler side, but still a very peachy look, and I'm gonna put that right underneath that first shade. Of course, we're gonna start deepening things up a bit here. So I'm still using a pretty fluffy brush. This is one of my BH cosmetics. It's the BH number 5. This is the Studio Pro line. So I'm just plopping that right underneath and deepening up that original shade. Maybe then I feel alright. Sometimes I get strung out trying to be myself. When you come close, I feel alive. Maybe that's a good thing. One last brush switch, and then we're gonna go into the deepest shade in the palette. This is called Silhouette. It's a really, really dark brown. Bring that up, and you already know. It's going right into the outer V. Blending it into those first 2 shades, creating a really nice gradient. That's a good thing. Okay, so I know for sure I want to put this on the eyes, but I don't know what other shimmer I want to pair it with. Decisions. Why don't we do these 2? Just, yeah, let's go up and down. So I'm going to start with Ella. And I'm just going in with my finger. Ooh. I'm plopping that right into the center of the lid. I feel like this is lighter on my finger than I expected. Okay. Never broke a bone, so I'm gonna try hard to prove you wrong. That I'm not who I used to be. Okay, we're gonna have to go back and clean that up. Surprisingly, it's not very impactful with a finger. So maybe we'll see if I can pack some on with a brush. But before we do that, I just cleaned off my finger and I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's called Muse. Stunning. And I'm gonna plop that into the inner part of the eye, blending it into that first shade. Never taking me alive, so come close. And I know why you said it, 'cause I'm reading every word in your voice. Now that is a metallic. Wow.
Maybe it's a good thing, got a good thing coming, it's a good thing that we're not who we used to be.
Okay, you see the vision. I'm gonna go ahead, clean things up with my brushes, and then I'll come back and show you guys the final look.
We're not who we used to be, and maybe that's a good thing. We're not who we used to be, and maybe that's a good thing. Sometimes I'm alone.
Okay guys, so I'm back. This is look number 1. She cute. This is a cute palette so far. Now, I'm not ready to give my final thoughts yet. I want to do at least one more look with this, maybe 2. But I wanted to show you guys the full face, how everything pulled together really nicely. I think the shadows perform like Natasha Denona shadows. But this is just look number 1. Just really quickly for the rest of my face. Givenchy Prisme Libre foundation again. I have literally like this much left. So this is trying to be emptied by the end of the month. I'm wearing Taylor on my lips. This is from Sydney Grace. Y'all, these lip creams are life. I can't get over it. Anyways, for my concealer, same concealer, Sephora Micro Smooth, under eye powder, Pat McGrath Deep, setting powder for the rest of the face, my Sephora Micro Smooth powder. For my blush, I'm using the Bare Cheeks palette from Blend Money Cosmetics. I mixed these 2 shades together, and then I also mixed that in with my One Size blush. This is called Rich Betch, so I used just the matte shade from that. And for my highlight, I went in with a Pat McGrath highlighter. I believe this is limited edition, Luna Nude. This one is such a good highlight, and I'm using that in my highlight area as well as in my brow bone. And that's his face. All right, let's go ahead and dive into look number 2. Okay, we are back for look number 2. Numero dos. Let's get it started. Okay, so these are the 2 lightest shades in this palette. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with this one, because this one I think might be too fair and it's more of a blend out shade. So I'm gonna go in with this one. It's called Mesh, and I'm gonna use that as my transition shade for this look. And we are using a Sigma E40 brush.
I don't have many trouble.
I'm just picking up that color, putting it right in the crease.
You're my supernova, the way you're lighting up every room. I used to be dramatic, now I'm so chill.
Next up, we're gonna go into Tender. I don't think I used this one last time, but I can't remember anymore. And I'm gonna start building and deepening up the outer V. This is a blending brush I got from Five Below. I think this was $2. Just a reminder that you don't have to spend a crazy amount of money on tools. Now I am curious about the shade Stone here, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of that with my small blending brush from the Units Orange set. This is the number 309, and I'm just going to put that into this inner part of the eye here, because I want to see what this looks like. Like, I hope you can see somewhat of a gradient in the eyes. But it does make me wonder if some of these shades are a little redundant in here. Anyways, I'm not trying to do too much there because I don't want this to be super deep. But of course we're going to go back into the darkest shade. This is called Silhouette. Like if you see my silhouette. And I'm just going to start by stamping that into the outer corner. Again, creating that gradient.
Locked my heart undercover.
Okay, we do have a couple options for shimmers because I'm liking where the eyes are going here. Yesterday I used this one and this one. I did take a little bit of this one and a little bit of this one for the waterline. So I feel, okay, we're gonna attempt to do 3. I think I want to start off with this shade, then I want to try to use this one, and then this pink one is super duper calling my name. Well, we'll see. Let's start with this one first. Let's see how it goes. So it's called Travertine. Ooh, wait. Do I want this one? That's pretty. Then we have Delilah. Ooh. And the pink one is Mia. Okay, great. Now let's see Sheen. This is not a swatch party, yo. I just haven't swatched this palette yet. So this is Sheen. Huh. Now I want to swatch these two to see what they look like because they are a little bit... Why do they look the same though? Hold on. Okay, they're not the same, but they're not that different either. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Travertine. Sticking with my gut here. Now this one has a more satin texture than the other shades in here. So I'm gonna just plop that. I think I'm just gonna put that all over the lid because I feel like this is not really doing much of anything because it's so satin-like. And I'm gonna put the other 2 shades over it. I mean, that's a look by itself. Switching to a brush, I'm just gonna try to clean that up a little bit.
I said I hate you, guess I was lying. Kinda miss all of the fighting. When it's good, I like it. When it's bad, it's exciting. I said I hate you, guess I was lying. Yeah, been a while since
I mean, the truth is I could stop right here and this would be a look. But I don't like the satin. It's not, I don't know. I'm not there. So what I'm gonna do is gonna go into Delilah. Hey there, Delilah. And I'm gonna put that over this shimmer because we need a little sparkle. There we go. We're getting something now. No, we cooking with gas. So this is definitely, I feel like, more of a toppery shade. It doesn't have a ton of base to it. So putting it on top of that satin shade brings out the satin, makes this sparkle just a little bit more. And you all know me, I can't control myself. So I'm actually gonna go into this pink because it's the only really interesting shade and kind of out of place shade in this palette. Like everything feels kind of neutral, cool tone neutral, kind of beigey gray. And then we have a pink, well, pink leaning shimmer. So I'm just taking that and I'm plopping it into the inner part on top of that satin as well. Just trying to make things pop, give it a little va-va-voom little body. What is wrong with me? So this is what we're looking like. I feel like this is somewhat similar to the look that I did yesterday, with the difference being the mattes here definitely more neutral, whereas the others were a little bit on the pinkier side, peachier side. So yeah, that's the difference that I'm seeing. But let me go ahead, clean up the rest of my face, blend things together, and I'll come back and show you guys the final look so you can see what this looks like all pulled together.
I said I hate you, guess I was lying. Gonna miss all of the fighting.
Okay guys, here we are. This is the final face. I really like this. You know, I'm not typically a cool toned eyeshadow kind of gal because I'm very yellow, but I like this. I like this a lot. For the rest of my face, let's quickly run through this. It's gonna be the same as before. My Givenchy Prisme Libre foundation, my Sephora Micro Smooth concealer and powder, my Pat McGrath blurring under eye powder, my blush is the Bare Cheeks palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. Again, mixing these two shades right here. I think those are my favorite shades from that palette. And for my bronzer, I'm actually using one that I don't really touch very often, and I thought about decluttering. This is the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. This is shade number 4. Because I'm a little bit richer as of late, that one just works. But in the winter time, it's a little too deep for me, and 3 is too light for me. I'm somewhere in the middle in terms of my perfect shade there, so I got rid of 3, kept 4. Probably should have got rid of both, but that's that. Okay, so I've decided this is gonna be my second and last look with this palette because I have so much more that I need to film with. So let's talk about it. I need a nude. This is nice, y'all. This is a cute palette. So I do think that this is absolutely beautiful. And overall, I like the quality and the performance of this. I don't think there's an issue in terms of whether this is good quality or not. I think it performs well. The mattes are really beautiful. The shimmers are nice as well. So no issues there. In terms of the color story, it's pretty monochromatic. And, you know, that's one thing I'm realizing with Natasha and her palettes is that, especially these 15 pan palettes, is that they are a little bit on the monochromatic side. When you look at this one, when you look at Glam, when you look at I Need a Nude, this one, Glam, Bronze, Retro, they're all very, very monochromatic. And to be quite frank, they're pretty large to be monochromatic palettes. Now, I do think that there are kind of 2 ways in which you can lean with this palette. You have these 2 shades that are on the peachier side. So it definitely gives you a little bit of a peachier look like what I did yesterday. And then you have the more cool toned options, which gives you that cool toned look. You also have this pink shimmer or pink leaning shimmer that feels kind of out of place when you hear because it's like the only different one. But overall, I think pretty monochromatic, and I wish there was a little bit more options when it comes to this palette. In terms of similarities, I do think that these 2 shades are very, very similar when swatched. It's pretty close. And these 2 mattes actually, yeah, this one and this one, or this one and this one, they're kind of on the close side. So, you know, there are definitely some redundancies in this palette when you put them on the eyes. And I noticed that particularly when I was blending the mattes. I was like, did we need 2 of these? Because one you can blend out to get a softer version of the other one. So I was just like, there are some redundancies here, for sure. But overall, I like this palette. I'm liking this direction that Natasha is going in terms of her shimmer formula because we are seeing her start to include multiple different shimmer formulas. So here I feel we have like a very chunky metallic shimmer. And then we have these 2 that are, in my opinion, more toppery shades. And then we have a couple of satins. Now, in my opinion, the satins are not her best formula. I don't like the satin formula in this palette. It wasn't my favorite, but it's not bad by any means whatsoever. So in closing, in summary, I like this palette. I think it's really beautiful. Do I think I needed it? Not really. If we're being honest, if we're being 100% truthful, I don't necessarily think that I needed this. Did I have fun playing with this? Yes. Will I probably reach for this again? Yes. Is it something that adds something new and different to my collection? No. I have a ton of neutral palettes. I even have a couple cool tone neutral leaning palettes. So this definitely doesn't blow me out of the water as something that's super new and exciting and different from what I already own. Now, I'm not going to do any comparisons to this, but I do want to show you 2, maybe 3 palettes that I think give me similar vibes that I already have in my collection. So you might want to take a look in your collection and see if you have something similar so that you're not buying this when you don't need to. Now, the first palette that came to mind for me was the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I do think that there are some similarities here. The biggest difference that I will say is this is a little bit richer, a little bit deeper. It has way more shimmer options, but all of these shimmers are the standard Natasha Denona shimmer. There's no variation in terms of this because this one has some metallics, some toppery shades, some satins. There's just a little bit more variety. And I would say that the Glam palette offers more depth, so it is, in my opinion, better suited for deeper complexions. Okay, let's see here. So here we have the 2 of them next to each other. There are no exact dupes in this palette. This one has more peachy shades to it than this one. This one is definitely, I would say, very, very much just straight up cool tones and even a little bit of warm tones here. Like this is a gold shade. Come on now, let's lighting. Okay. Okay, light stay there. So this one even has a little bit of warmth to it. There are a couple of golds throughout that I think make this warmer. This one, like I said, I think is more appropriate for lighter complexions because you have some of the lighter mattes in here. Whereas this one just stays a little bit richer and deeper. Quite frankly, I think these two would pair really nicely together and you can mix and match and move things around. You definitely have more shimmer options here and more matte options here. But this is what I immediately thought of. They're not exact dupes, but you can get similar vibes from both of them. And by vibes, I mean you can get a cool tone look. It's just, you know, they're pretty different. The next palette that I thought of, and I think this might be a closer match, is the Ethereal Eyes palette from Makeup by Mario. Like this one, I think if you have the Ethereal Eyes by Makeup by Mario, you don't need this one. So yes, here we have Ethereal Eyes by Makeup by Mario and the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. Here, I think we definitely have some strong similarities, both in terms of the color story as well in terms of the formula. Mario definitely included a lot of toppery shades in this palette, and I think that I might like the toppers in here more than I like the toppers in here. This definitely has a very, very beautiful, ethereal look when you use it. It's really, really pretty, guys. But if you have one, I don't know if you necessarily need the other. Know what I'm saying? And then the last one that I want to show you guys is the Vanity palette, the signature palette from Vanity Cosmetics. Again, not exact dupes, mainly because this one it has a lot of warm shades, but this palette has both warm and cool tone shades. So I think you can get a lot of similar looks using the cool side of this palette, which I would say is primarily these three shades. Like these 6 rows here and a little bit of here. I think you're going to get a cool toned look really well because you have kind of the cool toned brown, this more cool toned, almost gray brown as well, and you can deepen it up with the black. And I feel like these 2 shimmers primarily lean a little bit more cool tone. So they're not exact dupes, but I do think you can, in some ways, kind of dupe the vibe using this. And this one is a superb formula. Like this, top notch. It is more expensive though, so I wouldn't buy this if you don't have it because I think it's $100. It's 10 shades, very similar Pat McGrath formula. Very similar Pat McGrath styling, I should say. 10 shades, whereas this is 15 shades and $65. So in terms of value, I would go with this one, but if you already have that one, I don't think you need to get this one. I think that's it. So that's it in terms of my collection that I wanted to highlight. Again, nothing, it's a spot on dupe. I think the closest one is the Makeup by Mario palette. But definitely not Glam. It's not identical to Glam, but it is a cool tone palette. You can get very similar looks from it. Like I said, I do enjoy this palette. I think it's really cute. So if it's something that you're interested in, definitely pick it up. I would say wait for a sale though. Per use, that's my MO. But thank you guys. If you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching. I would love if you would leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on this palette. Did you pick it up? Are you interested in picking it up? All that fun jazz. like the video if you haven't already done so, and don't forget to subscribe on your way out so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you're enjoying the content, it's a great way to support without really doing anything. As always, I appreciate you guys so much more than you know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one.